My name's Frank and I'm an architect on Bainbridge Island, and I would like to share with you today why sketchbooks are so important to development of your training your eye and brain, and if you would like to perhaps take that in the direction of architecture, why sketchbooks have a lot to do with developing talents and skills in architecture. Here's a stack of sketchbooks that I've accumulated over the years. Some go quite far back in time. I wanted to show you a few examples very quickly, and then we can go on to actually making a sketchbook and doing some sketches in it. Starting out, you don't have to be looking at architecture necessarily. This is ring designs that I was looking at back before I got married, and I wanted to have a ring made for our wedding. Eventually, this is what we came up with, and in fact, there it is. So you can see some of the correlation between the sketch idea and the actual reality. Going a little bit more to the architectural side of things, you might be sketching just parts and pieces of something. In this case, it's windows, doors, porches for a house that I was looking at as a remodel. You can, of course, use different media. This is pencil, and I was sketching with my dad, and we were looking at a few objects, just simple things like apples, and there's a lot of shade and shadow there. This is a piece, a couple of pages that go together where there's an interior view of what I was looking at in a hallway with columns. Columns that then come up to beams and how they might be connected. Moving on, maybe looking at things with a little more color. This is a travel sketchbook that I've taken with me kind of recently. This was a trip to Spain. Nice little water spigot with a cistern to hold the water with a lot of cactus around it. It's really important to think about, why we sketch things. One, I mentioned train your eye and your brain about how to see things and record them. The other would be to, develop ideas or convey ideas to others. In this case, it's more about recording. In this sketchbook, this is the Alhambra in Spain at night, taken from a dining table at a restaurant. So we had some time while we were waiting for the food and kind of got that sketched out. And then, draw whatever interests you. On a trip to Havana, Cuba, saw this cat in the street, and again, I was probably sitting at a table having a cup of coffee, and I decided to sketch it very quickly, and kind of got the character of the animal. These are a little bit more architectural, I guess. It's really recording a place and a time, and maybe there was an object or a building that really was of interest because of texture and brick, in this case of an example on the East Coast. Here's a building that's up in Vancouver, British Columbia from the Art Deco period, and in amongst the more modern neighbors, it was really interesting to see this building from the 30s and the way it kind of set its base and its the shaft of the tower, and then its really interesting top. You can also record things that are maybe something you saw in an exhibit. This was a exhibit of architects' furniture and fixtures and things like that inside. So we have a lamp on the floor lamp, a chair, or also a lamp with an idea of how the light source actually worked. Now I'd like to talk about how to put together a sketchbook, and one that you can use for your own use and enjoy. I've got a series of paper such as this that is 8 inches by 6 inches. I have taken that paper and folded it in half, and as you can see, I have a number of these, perhaps maybe a dozen sheets altogether. And what I'm going to do is, these are going to fold and kind of nest into each other like so. And we're going to then connect them together by use of a stapler. So we're kind of organizing that. I may have a few more here. So that's going to go in there. And so I've got a little stack of sheets here. And this can be any paper you want. It's if you have something that's a little heavier, maybe that's a good thing. Again, if you cut them 8 inches by 6 inches, that will be fine. And the idea is we're going to have a little book like this. We're going to make a cover, which I have slightly heavier paper for. And you can use anything you want for that, maybe some cardboard, that sort of thing. I insert these paper folded like that. I kind of make them neat and arrange that. And then the key here is to have a stapler that I have to be able to get through right through the center of the fold, like so, and put a staple in. Ooh, that's a lot. And another one. And then we're going to be able to fold that like this and have our sketchbook. May want to protect ourselves from the edges of that staple by getting a piece of grocery bag and cutting it like so. Maybe we put in a little glue just to get it to adhere to the corner of the, come on glue, of the edge of this. There we go. Just a line of glue like that, another one like so, and we can apply that to the corner, and it actually makes a nice little edge here that protects the binding. And what you should do, of course, first and foremost is put your name in it. So you could put that on the cover here. You could illustrate it with something that you like, or put it on the first sheet on the inside. But that's what we're going to use for sketching, and the next thing we'll talk about is what we might look at to sketch first, and how we can learn some things about shade and shadow, maybe texture, and a little bit of perspective, which is always important for looking at three-dimensional objects.